What, even if the green light is on?
No, green
I
light.
tested them all before I put them
Well,
out.
the green light goes off from here. So it should be the red light shows power.
Well,
You're good, buddy.
Mic's on.
Okay, we're gonna start. Okay, welcome to the Town of Lloyd Board regular meeting for May 18th, 2022. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Stand. And Lenny Aqua, do you want to lead us in the pledge?
I'd love to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, long meeting tonight. If I can ask everybody to silence your cell phones or put them in airplane mode, is even better so that they don't interfere with the microphones. We have a long agenda tonight, so we'll try to get through it. What I'm going to do, though, is so I don't make our new dispatchers have to sit around all night, and Jim's always kind enough to bring his new employees to our meeting. I'm going to jump first to Resolution A, which is to hire Sandra Cassar as a part-time dispatcher at the rate of $18.65 per hour with a start date of May 19th, 2022, as a recommendation of Chief Jim Janso.
Motion.
Second.
Moody and Mazzetti, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and Resolution B is to hire Tanisha Gooden as a part-time dispatcher at the rate of $18.65 per hour with a start rate of May 19th, 2022, at the recommendation of Chief Jim Janso.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and I think, Jim, would you like to introduce your Tanisha and Sandra?
This is Nisha and Sandra. They are going to be our new part-time dispatchers. They're both at the law enforcement careers with us
Yeah, welcome.
Congratulations.
And good luck. Okay.
And best of luck to both of you.
You got a great boss there. You're lucky.
Welcome.
Okay, we'll move down through the agenda. Thanks again, Jim, and Sandra and Tanisha. Okay, public hearings that will remain open, and I know we're still working on the development agreements for the sewer and water extensions, because they're all tied together, and I know there's a lot of, I'll say, legal terminology and back and forth that Sean and the Water Sewer District and the developers are going through. So we're gonna leave these three open. We do have some public hearings that are open that we'll get to later. A few that we're gonna close. Okay, so we're gonna go into reports with Town Board Liaisons. We'll start off the Building Department. I know they've continued to be busy with permits and new applications. Dave is actually out on his planned vacation for 2 weeks, and we've been working with Anthony and Elaine on a couple complaints that we're trying to get resolved. We're gonna move on to ECC, Mike.
ECC, the meeting was canceled Monday night due to the storm, but they have finished with their Lloyd leaf. It's being distributed throughout the town. There are probably some right here in this building. I'm not quite sure. All right, that's about for that. And then the ZBA, they left the public hearing open for Pepino Foods. He's applying for an area variance, and that was all at that meeting.
Okay. The EDC, which is mine also, I have, we met last Tuesday. They're getting ready to distribute the updated brochures. And they also have some updates to our websites about, when you come into Highland to start a business, what the process is. And I think that'll go on the website very shortly. That's pretty much what's going on there. I'm going to move forward to the rest of mine, which is police. And I'm actually going to let Jim update us on an incident we had. And Jim, the microphone's not out there. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Borrow Mr. Mazzetti's.
You can take mine.
Done? Okay. Just a quick update. Yesterday, we had a little activity in the hamlet. We had 2 drug task force come down, our drug task force in Dutchess counties. They did a search warrant, no-knock search warrant on a residence in one of the apartments over here who was a heroin dealer. So he's on federal probation right now. He's going back to federal prison. He was a main dealer here in Newburgh and Poughkeepsie. So they've been working on the case for several months. It's still ongoing. So there won't be any press releases on it, but it was a major case that we took him off the street. So hopefully he can stay out of our town.
Was it urgent involved?
Urgent was involved, Dutchess County Drug Task Force, and then members of our guys. So it was a good case they put together. Like I said, it's still going. It's multi-jurisdiction, multi-counties, and multi-agency, so it's pretty big.
And I think it's kind of interesting. It was right across the street from the town hall. We walk by that apartment every day.
Unfortunately, they don't care where they set up business.
Yeah.
Whether they're next to a town hall, government, court, schools. They're unfortunately negative entrepreneurs that we don't need here. So it's one less person.
Chief, is there anything, because it's so close to the school zone, is there any,
I think it's out of the school zone location, but the charges he's facing,
doesn't matter anyway.
yeah, it doesn't matter. He's kind of federal.
Good.
Yeah, it's 100 feet.
I don't know how many feet it is.
Yeah, I think it's 100 feet. Yeah. So, but that's, and hopefully we'll have a press release coming within a week or two from the task force.
Good, and thanks for your department's involvement. I saw them over there also.
Yeah, we were watching.
Okay, I think that's all of mine. We'll move on to the fire district ambulance. John?
Okay, the Fire District Commissioners met last Tuesday, May 10th. Pretty routine meeting. Just one thing they want to make remind people of. This Sunday is their 200 Club at Station 2. I think they still have some tickets available if anyone's interested. I think typically it's at 1 o'clock. And the other thing, They received a couple of phone calls. I think the police received one or two calls that they were flying a Ukrainian flag. And a few people complained, and the reason for that was it was in memory of 12 Ukrainian firefighters who died in Ukraine. So it was like a professional courtesy, if you will. So that is why the Ukraine flag was flying up there. Ambulance report, the report came in very quickly after the end of the month. They had 170 calls. 72 of them were alpha calls. They had 2 standbys for, special events. And the number of no transports still remain high. For some reason, town of Lloyd is higher than neighboring communities. So 51 of the 170, once they went there, they said, no, I'm fine, I don't want to go anywhere. So there's no billing involved, it's just time, but they have to respond. But again, it's higher than the neighboring communities for some reason. It's been that way. The average response, I thought I wrote it down, I didn't. I think the average response time was 5 minutes and 24 seconds. And in June we will have, as we put in the contract, a biannual review with them. So if you have any input, anything you want to question about, I will be scheduling a meeting with me, Dave, and the management of Mobile Life. That's all I have.
Okay, you want to do lights while you're on, John?
Lights. Bridgeview, we hit another little roadblock. We move ahead, but the incentive, we thought we were going to get a 70% to 75% incentive from Central Hudson. Now I'm being told that our consumption isn't high enough to qualify. But we can't identify, so far, we haven't been able to identify what the usage is for those specific 37 lights that are there. So I got Brian Finn working on it, and we can't pinpoint, say these are the lights, so this is the kilowatt usage. But we're still going to move forward either way, but obviously it would be nice if we could get the incentives from Central Hudson. So more to come on that. The Highway Department they're anxious to get working and put that project together, so we'll keep pushing.
Okay, thanks, John. Joe, Highlands Central School District?
Sure. The budget vote was last night. The school budget passed. There was 4 seats. There was 2 seats open for the school board. 4 people ran for it. Mr. Miller, incumbent, won, and newcomer Miss Gemmel took the 2nd seat. And that's all I have to report.
The bus pass?
I'm not sure, but I think it did.
Yeah, the bus passed.
It did?
also,
That's
yeah.
the only one I didn't
Yeah,
hear.
by a big
Everything passed. I read so.
It passed by a big margin, yeah. Okay, thanks, Joe. Okay, Lenny, you want to take us through the park, the rail trail, and the water and sewer? Oh, you're paying.
goodness.
You have 4.
Okay, Highland Landing, down at the river. Supposedly, we have already purchased everything to complete the bathrooms as far as fixtures and all of that. Hopefully it gets delivered tomorrow so Anthony can rough everything in. And then I'm going to take the rest of the stuff out of there until we finish with the insulation and the sheetrock. I do have a place to put that. The insulation is closed cell foam, which the company will be here the 1st of June to do that, and then we can kind of get rolling along because the water and the sewer and everything is to the building. So hopefully, I don't want to say midsummer, God willing, by the end of the summer, we can have at least the bathrooms open and continue to work on the interior of the building. There's been some landscaping done down there. I hope everybody goes down. I hope you like the way it looks. It does dress the place up a little bit, and I'm personally pretty happy with it. Other than I wish I could find a place to put a Christmas tree, so we could put some lights on at Christmas time. But that's just my personal thing. There you go, the festive tree. All right.
The grass, and the grass really looks nice, Lenny.
Good, thank you. I'm working on, we got one other little section of grass to do on the northeast corner of the building. So that's kind of it there, but everything is rolling along to get that place finished up. Planning board next, I believe, at the meeting on the 28th, what was discussed was a subdivision at the Elms and the Laundromat to do a subdivision between the two. That's the lot line changed. They're working on that. It was public hearing on Guardian self-storage. That site plan at 450 North Roberts Road, they want to do an interior, what's the word I'm looking for? Renovation? No, come on. I'm lost. Oh, come on.
Why are you looking at me?
They atmospheric control. I got it.
Oh,
So, right, that's a public,
I had no idea.
well,
I got nothing.
come on. I got
It's
all
not
this stuff, and I'm trying
atmosphere,
to,
it's
there's too much on my mind.
Climate control, right?
So-
Climate control units.
So anyway, so still a public hearing on that till next month. We're working on the rest of it. The commercial site plan for 180 South Street, Mike had mentioned that. That's plan continuing. And there's a public hearing on Mazzella about, he wants to harvest some stuff on Tricia Boulevard. He's got to mark out all the boundaries to make sure the logger doesn't go on somebody else's property. And we're back to the villages, which he mentioned. The utilities for the assisted living part and everything that needs to go down 9W. So what's happened is the utility-only part of it passed, but they're working out a developer's agreement between, there's like 3 or 4 people, and so that's got to go back and forth before they can get any permits or get started on any of that. And that's actually about it as far as that goes. That's the planning board. God, I'm good. I love it. Hudson Valley Rail Trail. I usually concede my time to Peter Belizzi. Today is his and his wife's anniversary, so he is not here. I want to wish them both a happy anniversary. We had a meeting last night with the rail trail and everything for this coming weekend. Everything is laid out. Jamie has done a wonderful job. And that's more or less the big thing is to get this weekend in. And again, everything is pretty much covered.
And that's May Fest up on the Hudson Valley Rail Trail and on Haviland Road.
Thank you.
Saturday and Sunday.
And water and sewer, our biggest thing was trying to put this company to views. Now all of a sudden they've changed, and they don't want to go gravity from their property back down to the boundary line for the villages and the assisted living a part of it. All of a sudden they want to put in a pump station. So I asked at the Water, Sewer, and Drainage Committee meeting, I would like a cost analysis, one versus the other. You have a mechanical station, or we have gravity. I'm big on gravity. That doesn't present any problems in the future, but that pump station would be owned by them. But again, that was the big thing, and a couple little things about the line for Stewart's. And then they came back with the gas station across the street from Stewart's by Walgreens and talked about a hotel, but nothing, nothing definite or concrete. It was just a discussion at the meeting. And that's about all I have.
Okay, thanks, Lenny. Okay, if we move forward, there is nothing here for old business. I did want to mention a couple things. One is we got a letter from the Parkinson's Disease Support Group, and if you remember, we declared a month for Parkinson's a few months back, and it's just thanking us for being, the town of Lloyd for joining New York State and a growing number of other Mid-Hudson Valley cities and towns who are taking positive educational steps to raise awareness. So it's a nice letter thanking us for proclaiming that month for, Parkinson's disease. The other reminder is we have a seniors luncheon tomorrow at Shepherd's Landing, and I think we got a pretty good sign up. I think it's almost 200 people now, which
Good job.
is going to be pretty big, and that's being catered by Sal down at Shepherd's Landing at 12 noon.
And the desserts are being donated by Baker's Tail, the new bakery out by the ranch. They're donating the dessert for that.
And if anybody hasn't gone there, you have to go. It's
Great.
excellent.
Absolutely,
It's excellent.
absolutely right, Joe. Okay, and then the last thing is, I just wanted to publicly thank the events committee. Springfest was a huge success this past weekend. Everybody I've talked to has been very pleased with Springfest. We had a lot of people in town. Especially wanted to thank Reg Osterhaus, Julie Kalaga, Carissa Parisi, Lauren Montgomery, Lindsay Idle, and Krista Knudsen. They were the 6 people from the events committee who did all the coordination and spent the entire day there and cleaning up after. So I just wanted us to, we do appreciate it, and I wanted them to be recognized.
I just want to mention something on old business while I have a chance. A woman came up in front of a town board with a concern about turning lanes. Although we had no ability to implement turning lanes, the board did, in fact, write a letter to various councilmen, senators, assemblymen, DOT, requesting this, and it was a joint effort by the board. So I just want to make that public, that when people bring things to us, we do take action. So I just wanted to put that under old business.
Yeah, and we also did clean out the drainage ditch on Smith Terrace. That was in front of us a few weeks ago.
One other thing. The police department put on a fishing contest for the kids
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
on
that.
Saturday.
PBA.
PBA. That's all the same to me. Anyway, it was outstanding. I think you had 158 kids registered, and they had prizes, they had trophies, they had medallions. All the kids went home with something. It was absolutely great. I spent quite a bit of time up there because I was having such fun. There were so many kids up there that caught their first fish, that they were taking pictures, they were this.
I was going to ask that. You said medallions, everything, but you failed to mention fish. I was going to ask Chief, were there any fish there?
Oh, they caught plenty of fish, but
They're still in there.
I probably shouldn't say this publicly, there's probably still a lot left. But, no, it was absolutely outstanding.
Even with you there, they caught fish.
Even with me there.
That's unusual.
The
That's
best,
highly
the
unusual.
He's a
best
good
story,
luck charm. He's the fish whisperer.
yeah, the best story I heard was Chris Miller told me about a young lady who came up there to fish with her Barbie fishing rod, and she hooked the golden trout, which was the 21-inch one, and snapped the line off on it. And Chris said, it's still out there with the bobbers. Somebody's got to catch it. So I felt sorry for the girl breaking her Barbie fishing line, but she did hook the big one and just got away from her.
Yeah.
But,
All
yeah,
right.
it was a great event. Thanks for bringing it up.
Thank the
Lenny.
guys for us, Chief, please do.
Okay, we'll move on to new business, and I don't see the maps here. I'll see if we need them, but Patty Brooks is online, and there's a lot line revision, and the reason it's coming to us is it's by the town field. The lot line will fix some issues we had with, something on our, kind of crossing a line a little bit on ours, and some stuff we need to do to help us with the pavilion design moving forward. So, Patty, you're on.
Thank you. Does the board have the copies of the maps that we circulated today?
Margaret just went out to get them for us. Yes, we do.
Okay, because I can also share the screen if you don't have them. But again, Councilman Akamuti discussed this one earlier today. This is a 2-lot subdivision that's currently being reviewed by the planning board. During the course of the survey, we discovered that part of the overhang and wood deck and planters of the existing laundromat are located on property of the Town of Lloyd municipal parking lot. So we have proposed to the town board, and the applicant has agreed to do a land swap with the Town of Lloyd, if the Lloyd Town Board will accept it, to convey the amenities that are on the laundromat property to Elms Main Street, and to convey a triangular-shaped parcel of land just northerly and parallel to the pine trees that are at the corner of the parking lot by where the athletic field is. I know that there are plans to put the pavilion there. We think that that will kind of be a win-win situation for both the town and the applicant, in that we will eliminate the encroachments and give a little bit of extra land to the town in the area of the proposed new pavilion.
That, it's, and I think if you read the letter, it's 0.03 acres that we're getting and 0.03 acres that we're giving up. So it's kind of an even exchange for it. So the question is, from a discussion point, does I think, Sean, you'll have to you'll have to be part of that agreement, right?
Yeah.
Once it goes through the planning board?
I just have one
Yeah.
question, and I think it's a win-win for us. I do agree with Patty. I just want to just make it publicly known. It doesn't affect any of our roads or anything by giving them the points, right? The 0.3?
Correct. The boundary line will go along the edge of the planter that already is the edge of the parking lot. One of the things that we were very sensitive to is that that property originally was conveyed to the Town of Lloyd for municipal use. And that's one of the reasons that we were very careful to make sure that it was an even swap, so that there would be no benefit to Elms Main Street without there being a mutual benefit to the Town of Lloyd. So this is an even swap.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, and as Patty mentioned, working with Patty and her staff, we realized trying to fit the pavilion in, we were encroaching on his land. So
Yeah.
this frees it up, so it's a benefit for both parties, and
And even before this, when that was happening, he was very workable, letting us go through the land, doing what we had to do. He's a great person, so it's definitely a win for us.
so, you need a mo, good.
Does anybody have an issue with it?
No, I don't.
No.
Sounds, Patty, like we're okay from a town board perspective. Okay, Sean, what has to happen here now, after the planning board reviews?
Yeah, if the planning board reviews it, you're gonna have to do, basically just do a couple deeds. Because this map will get approved and then filed, and to facilitate that, you have to do a couple deeds.
That can all be done by the planning board lot line revision, correct?
Yeah, you're before the planning board now, Patty?
We are before the planning board now, and this land swap was actually a suggestion of the consultant for the planning board. So they will be reviewing it tomorrow night at their workshop meeting, and I'm hopeful that with the town board not having any opposition to the lot line revision, that they'll schedule it for a public hearing next month.
All right. Okay, yeah, so one question would be is who's gonna pay for the deeds? Because you're gonna need two deeds, one from the town to the owner. Who's the owner? Is it a corporation that owns this property?
Yes.
Elms Main Street, the LLC, yeah.
Elms Main Street LLC.
Right, so you're gonna need a deed to them from the town and from them to the town, and then there's gonna be filing fees associated with that also.
So yeah, we'll have to work that out with the landowner to see how that's going to work out.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you, Patty.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too, Patty. Thank you.
Okay, moving forward, we have Dave Jennings on the call tonight also, and I just want to make a statement up front. I've been chasing some grants, and I know Mike knows that we've been looking at grants for water, and I think the whole town board knows that. We were actually looking for grants for Tilson Talk, and then we were able to get some additional funding for that. But with the new infrastructure plans, there's a great deal of funding available right now. And, when to go write a grant, none of us in here are really, skilled to do that type of work. And I also don't like doing the whole billable hours every time we try to get the grant, because you run yourself through, you can run up the bills, and then part of your grant goes to there. So it was intriguing. I got Dave's name, and I'll let him give you the pitch. I think you all got the package that Margaret forwarded to you. They actually work on a retainer, which to me was a lot better, maybe a lot better way, at least from my perspective. We can all chime in on it, but what I'd like to do is let Dave take you through kind of his proposal, and then you can ask him any questions. I've already met with him, so I kind of understand it. So, Dave, you're on.
How is everybody tonight? First of all, thank you for having me. I'm joined by my colleague, Peter Blanos, who's the other smiling individual that you see right now. Peter's our Director of Business Development at Millennium. I am the Director of New York Operations, managing the office out of Nanuet. So I'm going to let Peter just do a quick overview of the company, and then I'm going to get into a little bit of the weeds on how we provide our service and our approach to grant writing for local governments. Go take it away.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Good evening, everyone. My name is, again, Pete Blanos. I'm the Director of Business Development, Millennium Strategies. Millennium Strategies, we are a full-service grants consulting firm. We've been in operation since 2005, working specifically in the state of New York since 2015, providing grant research and grant writing services on behalf of local government agencies. That includes both municipalities as well as county governments. We presently represent approximately 22 local government agencies throughout the state of New York. The majority of our client base is located directly within the Hudson Valley area. We do represent some agencies out on Long Island as well, but working to secure grants on their behalf from all sources. This includes both governmental and non-governmental sources. So everything from the federal government to the state government to the county government, and on the private side, working to secure funding through agencies such as corporations and philanthropic nonprofit agencies. So we look to take a comprehensive approach to finding funding from sources on both sides of the spectrum. We also specialize in writing grants across a broad array of municipal focus areas. So there are some firms who specialize in certain types of grant writing. We like to think that we specialize in all areas of municipal grant writing. So everything from water and sewer to roadway infrastructure, parks, public safety, police, fire, EMS, health and human services. If there is a grant opportunity that is out there and that is applicable to our clients and we're able to identify it, we are actively researching those and presenting those on an ongoing basis to ensure you have a full understanding of what funding is available to you and can ultimately pursue it. Been very successful working with the local governments throughout the state of New York during our time doing so, helping to secure over $80 million in both public and private sector grant funding on their behalf. So we have developed a strong reputation in a very short period of time, and we're looking to continue to build upon our efforts to date. So that is a general overview of our company. We do have, one last thing I would note is we do have two offices within the state of New York. Our corporate headquarters for New York operations is located in Nanuet. We also have an office in White Plains. So we do have a strong presence in the region that Dave leads the operations on. So I'm going to let Dave talk a little bit about our service model and the proposed services that are being presented for your review and consideration.
So we have a pretty unique approach, and Supervisor, I know we spoke about it previously. We're trying to be as proactive as possible. We have a team of grant writers as well as a grant research department. All the grant research department does on a daily basis, three of them at present, they are constantly searching for federal, state, and foundation-based grants that may be a fit for our clients. 99%, I think we have two nonprofits at this point, but 99% of our business model is focused on local government grant writing. So it's our job to expose you and make sure that you're being noticed of new opportunities as they come about. We meet every Monday internally and walk through typically 10 to 15 new opportunities and pull those out that we feel are a very good fit or a potential fit for the town. From there, we work directly with the department heads as well as the administration. We typically have one direct point of contact who we keep in the loop relative to all projects that we have in motion, all grants that we're notifying the town about for consideration. And when a department head or our direct point of contact indicates an interest in pursuing a particular opportunity for a project, we move forward, and it's our responsibility to write the application in full and then follow up and track its status with the funding agency. On the occasion, if a application is submitted but gets denied, it's then incumbent on us to follow up with the grant agency and find out what can be improved for the next cycle, if it's worthy to pursue again, or if it just was not a fit for different reasons. Now is a very good time to be thinking about grants. We have never seen this much federal funding available really to states and local governments. About $350 billion of the $1.3 trillion infrastructure bill we anticipate will cycle down and filter through the state governments down to local governments in some form or fashion. Many of those programs are either supplementing existing grants or they're going to become their own programs brand new. So we have our eyes on that as well. Right now, as you probably know, the state's consolidated funding application cycle is out. Applications are due for a variety of programs in different categories at the end of July. So we're going through planning with each of our clients right now to identify what projects should be pursued and what applications we're moving forward with. Relative to the start of any arrangement with a new client, what we'd like to do is get in and meet directly with your department heads. First and foremost, to introduce us and make sure they know who we are, so if they get a phone call or an email, they don't think it's spam and they know our role. That's really the most important thing. Second, and just as important, is to get to know your projects. We try to look through your capital plan if you have one. That's up to date. We talk through existing initiatives that they have moving, what the focus areas are, and then we align those with federal and state and charitable grants that we know are going to be available either at present or down the line during the course of the year. Our retainer is renewed typically every year. So we're evaluated on our success. It's a very black and white industry in terms of what we do. You, at the end of the day, want to see a significant return on the investment. We see the projects as your projects. The grant awards that come through are your grant awards. Our job is the labor that comes along with identifying the right grant, the right funding program, and trying to get that funding to come down in the form of an award for the town. So with that said, that's a brief snapshot. The only other thing that I will mention is we do provide monthly reporting. On that report is a listing of all applications that we have in progress at that time, all applications that have been awarded during that contract period thus far, all applications that were submitted that remain under review, a listing of grants, hopefully at the end of each year, a very small list of grants that were denied, and obviously we do debrief that, and then a listing of grant opportunities that we sent along but were not pursued for whatever reason. So that gets updated each month over the course of the 12-month term, and so it's very clear, and the board has line of sight into what we're working on and what we're producing on behalf of Lloyd. It would be a privilege to work with you. It'd be a privilege to get to know your team, and certainly if you have any questions relative to our proposal and proposed scope of work, we're happy to answer them.
And Dave, can you give the town board, I mean, it was in your package, but can you kind of give them an idea of what the retainer would be, the mins and maxes, or can you do that for us, please?
Sure. Our standard grant consulting retainer is $3,000 per month. And that figure, our goal is to multiply in terms of the return multiple times over, or we typically will not be around for years to come. We want to develop long-term relationships with the clients that we service. We've been able to do so based on the success we've had. And so that's the way, we structure it. We want to be part of your team. We want to be your grants operation at the end of the day.
So Pete, is there a percentage that you would get on any grant that you were able to obtain for the town? Or you?
There are
So no.
times I wish that would be the case, but the answer to that is no. What our number is essentially our number. We're providing a service at the front end, yeah.
And this contract would be a yearly contract or month to month?
It is. The contract is structured for a 12-month term, and then we're obviously reevaluated at the end of that 12-month term based on activity and success. Our retention rate is very high with our client base. I'm very proud to say in fact, I don't think we lost a client last year, Pete, if I'm not mistaken. So again, our goal is to become part of your team. And in order for that to be the case, the results have to be there. So, the pressure's on us the majority of the time. An interesting thing about the reporting element is at the end of each year, we wipe the report clean. So all of the grant awards from the previous 12 months are removed. And we start from scratch relative to what we're working on and what we're submitting.
So it's basically $36,000 a year in a contract retainer. And what would cause us to have to exceed the $3,000? What's covered and what's not covered in that $3,000 retainer per month?
So that includes all grant research and all grant writing. So the entirety of that's a full service relative to the pursuit and procurement of grants on behalf of the town. We're not limited in scope. You can use us for as many applications as you desire. There are cases that obviously we're extremely busy, but we, as a target for the relationship to be positive, we really need to be proactive. We need to be writing and want that to be the case. With all of our service agreements, there's an opt-out clause, which provide 30 days notice. We have not had clients use it, but the reality is it's there if needed. If the relationship is not right, we have that opportunity as well. We see it as a situation where our brand is important and performance is ultimately how we're going to grow down the line.
Is there any guarantee for this $36,000 that we'll get X amount in grants per year? Or it's just 36, if we get it, we get it, if we don't, we don't?
Yes, essentially, yeah, there's no guarantee that's given. The effort and the labor that goes into the work that we're providing is what you're paying for. Our job is to be successful and get that money for you.
Yeah, I think the other key, and I know when we spoke, Dave, was the fact that you actually project managed the grant through was important to me, and project managed the list of 4 or 5 grants if we have that many. Because right now, I don't know who all understands the process, but it's either myself or Margaret or Kendra or somebody chasing down with the consultants, whether it's B&L or CPL or whoever we've hired for it. So we're spending a lot of our time trying to find data on the system, trying to go into the state system, the federal system, and you have to learn how to use them, and it kind of takes a lot of our time. So I think this would free up a lot of our time on both researching, getting somebody to do the work, to write the grant, and then following it through to find out, did you get it, and if not, why not, I think is really important. So that's why, Mike, I like this concept better than some of the ones that, you and I have seen, in the past.
I think it could be money well spent for the town.
Yeah, and we can use the COVID relief money to pay for this if we want.
And I'm sorry I had to step out. Important call for my job. But no, I'm glad you answered my questions. And, with the opt-out clause, I don't see how it's a lose, because if we're not happy.
So I think, Dave, the town board, it sounds like we're in agreement of trying this. So what we'll have to do is, Sean, we'll have to get a contract from them, get it to you.
Yeah, I'm assuming they have a contract. They can send us a contract, we can review it, and then you can do a resolution to approve it.
Can I just ask one more question? If you don't have the answer, it's okay. Just
Sure.
I'm sure you have towns very similar to ours in your portfolio. On average, what you get them in grants per year?
Depends on what they need.
It depends on what their responsibilities are. I can say, our number, as Pete referenced, is about 80 million over the course of the last 5 years. Our goal simply is to have a good year every year, a great year mixed in. A good example would be the town of Harrison, Westchester County. First couple of years of service, we had ROI that was good. It was, typically 3 to 4 to 1. And then the year following, they received upwards of $10 million in awards, not through the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, but it was a variety of different wins that came through. Water and sewer is an enormous focus right now. So knowing, their water and sewer needs, that's a tremendous opportunity to tap into grant funds to pay for some of your projects. Obviously, stormwater and sustainability is another major focus, and we're very busy on the police side of things when it comes to law enforcement related grants. Our biggest year for a client was in the neighborhood of, I think, 11 million. And then our smallest year ROI is, typically in hundreds of thousands. So, the goal is to be busy and successful.
Thanks.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this sheet. I think it's the 4th page. Notable client recent grant awards. And what is recent? What time period does this represent?
This is a sample from, I would say, probably the last 2 years of
2 years?
awards, just to provide some examples of different grants from different programs, to give you an idea of the type of awards that we're securing.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah, if I might say, on their list is this Mamaroneck. I called Norm Rosenblum, who is the mayor of the village of Mamaroneck, and he said most of the grants that they got were for the town. He said, but they got them a lot of money.
right.
It's on the sheet.
So the village had a very good year last year. We started work for the town recently, but the village of Mamaroneck we've been with, gosh, I think it's been 4 years now. And last year in particular was a very good year for them, working with Jerry Barbario and Dan Sarnoff over there.
Okay, any other questions for Dave or Pete, or we'll start moving forward? And, you get us the contract, we'll go through it, Dave, and, you get it to Margaret, we'll go through it, and then, we'll bring it into one of our next meetings. And then we'll get you hooked up with the department heads, and you can see what projects they're looking at. I know there's, as I said, a ton of them in water sewer. We have not invested in that water infrastructure in a few years, and
Right.
it's time for us to really make that more efficient, more effective.
Sean, would you or Steve, you would review that contract, correct?
Sorry?
Would you or Steve review that contract? You would review it?
Yeah, I could review this contract.
That's a town contract, yeah.
Just double check.
Okay, any other questions for Dave or Pete? If not, I appreciate you both taking the time to join us tonight, and, we'll look forward to hearing back from you.
It's a pleasure. We'll get that over to you. Thanks for the opportunity, and excited to work with you. And the pressure's on us, as always.
Okay. Thanks.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
You too. God bless you. Good night.
Yeah, I think you took a great initiative here to move forward with this, Dave.
Thanks.
I-
man.
Well, the other grant writers, every time they make a phone call, it's,
It takes a lot of time,
Right.
a lot of knowledge.
All right.
Okay, we're going to move on in new business. Locox Restaurant was giving us, is looking to get their liquor license, and this is the 30-day notice they give to the town board that they're going for it. Locox is the old Prime Time up on Route 9W north of 299. And I think the question is, does anybody have an issue with them getting their liquor license? Personally, I do not.
30-day advance notice so that they can move forward to get their liquor license.
Is it a nightclub or is it a restaurant? 'Cause I saw pictures of the inside, it looks like a nightclub, doesn't
Well,
look
those
like a restaurant.
might be old pictures. It's a restaurant. He actually owns another restaurant in Middletown. It's a tapas restaurant.
Yeah, I heard that, I was excited about that.
Yeah.
But then I heard from somebody else, but it's not a nightclub, it's a restaurant.
It's a restaurant.
That's why Wendy's very specific when she says tapas.
I,
Nice guy. He's been working with the building department for about 7 months on this, and
property still, and I know Dave's not here, if it was a nightclub, is that allowed in that usage anymore, because it's been closed so long, Sean?
Well, I don't know what, I don't know what's allowed in that zoning, if it's allowed in the
Neither do I.
zone. Right at this point.
Then it wouldn't matter anyway.
Yeah, it's,
Right, if it's allowed in the zone, it wouldn't matter. If that was a non-conforming use, that the use is probably expired.
Right, because
but like I
I know that when it was prime time, and then it was a couple other different
It
nightclubs.
was home A for a couple days.
Yeah, but there was a lot of complaints by the neighbors. I did receive a phone call from a few people on the street across that have residences. They were very concerned when they heard it was a nightclub, not concerned at all, and excited when they heard it was a restaurant. And Wendy, the reason I say that is the pictures that I saw are not from the old prime time. They were brand-new pictures, and it looked like a nightclub.
no,
Well, one of the neighbors on Cummings has already complained they were trying out the sound system.
So
okay, so that'll have to come forward to the,
that's
Planning
not
board
us.
person.
So can we,
You're just
yeah,
here to
can we,
decide if he can get his liquor license.
and can we also find out, while we're discussing this, if, to make sure that if it's gonna end up being a nightclub, it's zoned or not zoned for, if the grandfather is or isn't? Because, I mean, you're making me nervous now when you say they're testing the sound system. You know, most restaurants don't have a sound system that people across the street can hear.
I'm just passing the information on. But wasn't there a problem that it couldn't be a nightclub again after the last incident?
I don't know. I don't know. You have to,
I'm going back in my mind.
I don't know what it's zoned for.
it's,
Issue with the liquor license after that last
yeah,
incident.
it was the previous owner was not allowed to get another liquor license
Right, yeah.
because of the
For
shooting.
the property may still be
Yeah, but
allowed.
I have no idea, like I said, I'm not sure what that zone is and what's allowed in that zone, if they need a site plan or special use permit.
They need
You
a
know, it
special,
might
I'm
be
looking
no-
at the use table, they need a special use permit, so they'll have to go through the planning board.
So, yeah, they're gonna have to go through and get the special use
Working
permit.
with them, he said 7 months they've been working with building department. and
Yeah,
stuff,
the use
so.
table's right here, so they need a special use permit. So they'll have to go through and get that. I think the only question that they had with us is, did we want to, are we okay?
Can they move forward
Can
with
they
getting
move
their
forward
liquor
with their
license?
liquor license? Is anybody have an issue with that?
And do we, I mean, isn't it a formality them even asking? I think we can't stop them anyway.
Well, it's just a
It's
waiver of a
formality.
30-day notice. They have to give you 30-day notice, and then if the 30 days would go, you have to, put something, or if you didn't do anything, they're just trying to expedite the process with the liquor authority.
Okay. So let's move forward. We'll move to privilege of the floor. Is there anybody here that would like time? Okay. Then we'll continue to move forward. We already did resolutions A and B. We'll move on to resolution C, which is resolution to accept the resignation of Francis Piscopo effective May 26, 2022.
He's resigned from what?
What department was he in? Dispatcher, that's right, dispatcher.
Yeah.
Do we need to put that there as resignation as dispatcher, or does it not matter?
No, it should be in there.
Okay, so you'll add that, Wendy? Thanks.
Okay,
Motion.
I make the motion.
Okay, Mazzetti, Frano, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Resolution D, to hire the following staff for 2022 Berrien Park and Summer Fund, camp counselors. I'm not going to read off all the names, but there's a good 10 or 15 of them here at $13.50 per hour at the request of Frank Alfonso.
Motion.
I just have one question.
Okay.
In that resolution, I see Zach Angelone, and then the next resolution, I see Zach Angelone. Is that just a
Because it's two different positions.
Two different
One's a
Different.
council, one's
So
as a,
you can fill
one-
two
yeah.
positions?
Absolutely.
yeah, because we're paid by the hour. So
Okay.
if he's, he wouldn't get paid for both if he's working as a counselor, if he's working at grounds.
Yeah, give him credit for taking 2 jobs, huh?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
so I
he's a
think,
good kid. He's
so I think we had
You
a
know what,
motion.
you know what, Dave, that's a good, so many people don't even want a job, and this kid's taking 2, so I think maybe we should pay him a little extra.
It's,
point.
all right, so we got, I think we had the
Moody, Frano.
Moody Frano, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And these
Okay,
are
so-
just camp counselors. They have not gotten to lifeguards yet, so just so you know.
Right. Resolution E to hire Zach Angelone as seasonal part-time buildings and grounds starting May 19th, 2022 at $15.67 an hour, 20 hour per week at the request of Frank Alfonso.
Motion.
Yeah.
I'll let,
Favor?
let Frano have the motion because he questioned the poor
Yeah,
kid.
well, if you notice, Joe, he does get paid more for the second job.
Good for him.
I
He's-
would work the second job more.
Okay,
They're both part-time, that's the problem,
Yeah,
but I second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, resolution F to hire up to 2 part-time paid summer interns to assist clerical administrative cleanup ahead of the fall shred schedule at event at a rate of $14.50 per hour, which is budget supported at the recommendation of David Plapchek, supervisor.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, G, motion to move the current UCAT bus stop location and bus stop sign from Vineyard Avenue in front of 7179 Vineyard Avenue to the stop sign stop on the corner of Main Street and Vineyard Avenue along the property line of the Hudson United Methodist Church with the support of the Ulster County Transportation.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. So I'm in favor of it. So I'm not in favor. I think it's a great move. I love it. The only thing I want to question is we discussed a bench.
Yep.
Is that part of it? Is this,
It's not part of this resolution. Mike and I walked down there. Lenny and I walked down there one day. Mike and I walked down there. We can put a 6-foot bench there. Mike had an idea of an actual covered bus stop. When we looked at the cost of them, it didn't make sense for us to do it yet because we have the streetscape project going through there and we don't have to rip it out again. We may still put the bench in there, but I think the first move for us is let's get the thing moved, make sure UCAT is picking people up consistently at the new stop, and then we'll move forward.
yeah,
from there.
and the only reason I say the bench is, and I love this idea, I think it's great, there's older people.
Yeah.
They may not be able to stand. And
Yeah, the benches are, I think are about $1,500. We checked with Frank, he didn't have any left over, so,
Yep, 900 to 11.
yeah,
Yeah,
the ones
get
I
a
saw were a
6-footer.
little more, but that's okay. It's,
do we have any in the village that we can move to a
no,
different
we're-
spot?
no, they're all bolted down, cemented down, so,
You gotta get something that's durable.
right.
You know, you can
Yeah.
spend less money.
What did we pay for the,
1150.
that's what
Now,
they
that
cost.
was, but that 1150 was with the donation. I was writing checks to the town for 585. They've probably gone up since then. So, under 1,000,
So we can get, and then you have the.
That was then.
right.
While we're in the discussion phase, I would like to commend our supervisor for getting this through the county and approved rapidly.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Did a good job.
Thank you.
Dave's getting all kinds of praises
Yeah,
tonight.
Dave.
Okay, so
be
we'll
careful.
follow up with a bench. It's just a matter of ordering one, and Richie said he'll move the sign whenever he moves the sign, we'll notify Tony Roser at UCAT, and she will alert the bus drivers. So I
Right.
think we move forward.
So
Any
that's-
more discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution sorry. Whereas the Town of Lloyd Building Department has deputy building inspectors who must respond to any emergency during and after normal work hours, which involves building safety issues in the Town of Lloyd. Therefore, the Town of Lloyd Board authorizes deputy building inspectors to take building department town vehicles to their residents in order for them to respond to any building emergency or safety issue within the Town of Lloyd after normal work hours. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Moody Frano. All in favor?
Can we do a roll call, please?
Yeah, do a roll call, that's fine.
Frano,
Yes.
Plopcheck,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Guerrero,
No?
Mazzetti.
No.
Okay, motion carried 3-2. Resolution I, amend the working hours of the Town of Lloyd Highway Department from the current hours of 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. to the summer hours of 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. effective Tuesday, May 31st, 2022, at the recommendation of Highway Superintendent Richard Klotz.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion J, to authorize closing the following streets: Phillips Avenue North to New Paltz Road, easterly to Main Street, along Vineyard Avenue South to Milton Avenue to Van Wagner, to Vineyard Avenue North into the hamlet of Highland for the Memorial Day Parade on May 30th, 2022, from 8 a.m. to approximately 11 a.m.
Motion?
Second.
Moreno Guerrero, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion K, to host Mayfest along the Hudson Valley Rail Trail at 75 Haviland Road, including 75 Haviland Road parking lot and 100 Haviland Road parking lot on Saturday, May 21st and Sunday, May 22nd, at the request of Peter Belize, President, Hudson Valley Rail Trail Association.
Motion.
Akmoody, second.
Second it.
Guerrero, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion L, to approve Town of Lloyd film permit for High Roller Productions LLC to film a TV series, Poker Face, at 601 Main Street, New Paltz, New York, which is the old hotel across from Lowe's, which is the roadway in. Can you get a motion?
Motion.
Reno? Second?
Second.
Mike?
Just one thing, even though it says New Paltz, so it's explained to me that it is actually the town of Lloyd.
Yes, it
Just
is.
has-
Yeah, I think that's the post office.
Yeah,
is
it's just,
New Paltz, yeah.
yeah, so,
Okay. Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Okay, M, motion to authorize Highland Rotary Bike Safety Day on the Hudson Valley Rail Trail on June 5th, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 101 New Paltz Road to Commercial Avenue Rail Trail. The rail trail will remain open.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And so now we're going to get to closing the public hearings. I will ask one time, though, is there anybody here for the public hearing on amending sewer rates? Okay, can I get a motion to close the
Motion.
public hearing?
Second.
Okay, Mazzetti, Guerrero, all in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to O, which is a resolution whereas proposed local law B 2022, a local law to amend the code of the town of Lloyd, chapter 85, article X, entitled sewer charges by canceling the existing subsection 85 to amend the rates for sewer, which was introduced at a meeting of town board held on the 6th day of April 2022 at 4 p.m. And whereas within local law, this is a type 2 action pursuant to the state to seeker and is exempt from further proceedings under such act. And whereas a public hearing has been held there on the 20th day of April 2022 at 7 p.m. and continued on the 18th of May 2022 at 7 p.m., at which time the interested parties were given an opportunity to be heard thereon, and now therefore be it resolved that Local Law 2, 2022 be enacted as in the form attached to Schedule A as fully as if set forth herein, being a local law to amend the code to the Town of Lloyd, Chapter 85, Article X, to amend the rates charged for sewer. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Akmoody? Can I get a second?
Second.
Frano? You want to do a roll call, Wendy?
Sure. Frano?
Yes.
Plopcheck?
Yes.
Akmoody?
Yes.
Guerrero?
Yes.
Mazzetti?
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Okay, the next public hearing is the public hearing for agricultural buffer language, which is still open. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on the buffer language? Okay, can I get a motion to close the public hearing on agricultural buffer?
Motion.
Akmoody,
Second.
second Frano. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried, so we're gonna move to the resolution. And we did get feedback, which is included in the updated, in the resolution from the county. It was just advisory comments, which were to better define the agricultural districts, which we did. And then, it's, given the septic systems, particularly below ground systems, don't create a visual impact, allowing them within the buffer area could be approved on a case-by-case basis. So we did make those changes, based on the recommendations, because it appeared to us they were okay. So the resolution Q, whereas local law C of 2022, a local law to amend chapter 100 zoning, article 2, entitled definitions, to add a definition for agricultural buffer was introduced at a meeting of the town board held on 6th day of April 2022 at 4 p.m. And as the town board of the town of Lloyd, having determined that this matter constitutes an unlisted action under seeker and a short form EAF had been prepared on behalf of the town, and the town board having issued its declaration of non-significance in this matter. Whereas a public hearing was opened on the 20th day of April 2022 at 7 p.m. and continued on the 18th day of May 2022 at 7 p.m., at which time all interested persons were given an opportunity to be heard thereon. And whereas the town board previously proposed and circulated said local law pursuant to law, and the town board made revisions to the previous introduced local law pursuant to the recommendation of the Ulster County Planning Board to clarify that said definition shall apply to lands in Ulster County, New York, certified agricultural districts and/or farm operations consistent with the New York State Agricultural Markets Law, and to remove the prohibition of allowing septic systems in the buffer area. Therefore, it is resolved that local law 4 of 2022 be enacted as in the form attached here to a Schedule A, as fully as if set forth herein, being a local law to amend Chapter 100 zoning, Article 2, and entitled definitions, to add a definition for agricultural buffer of the code of the town of Lloyd. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Hawk, Moody, Frano. You want to do a roll call again, Wendy? Since local law?
Frano,
Yes.
Plopcheck,
Yes.
Akmoody,
Yes.
Guerrero,
No.
Mazzetti.
No.
Okay, motion carried, 3-2. All right. The last public hearing we had today was to amend the water rates, which is local law E. Is there anybody here for water rates discussion? If not, could I get a motion to close the public hearing on water
Motion.
rates, local law E?
Motion.
Mazzetti?
Second it.
Second, Guerrero. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing is now closed. We'll move on to the resolution. Resolution, whereas a proposed local law E 2022, a local law to amend the code of the town of Lloyd, Chapter 98, Article 4, Sections 9813 and 9815, to amend the rates charged for water, was introduced at a meeting in the town board held the 6th day of April 2022 at 4 p.m. And whereas the within local law is a type 2 action pursuant to seeker and is exempt from further proceedings under such act. Whereas a public hearing has been held thereon on the 20th day of April 2022 at 7 p.m. and continuing on the 18th day of May 2022 at 7 p.m., at which time all interested parties were given the opportunity to be heard thereon. Now, therefore, be it resolved that local law 3, 2022 be enacted as in the form hereto attached Schedule A, as fully as if set forth herein, being local law to amend the code of the town of Lloyd, Chapter 98, Article 4, Sections 9813 and 9815, to amend the rates charged for water. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call again, Wendy. Sorry.
Frano,
Yes.
Plopcheck,
Yes.
Akmoody,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Mazzetti.
Yes. Dave,
Okay.
before you read the next resolution, since this agenda is posted, is it okay if you summarize it, because it's a long resolution?
Yeah, I could do that, yeah. I could do that. Actually, helps me, Joe, I won't have to get my water as much.
Yeah, it's a huge resolution, so
You could just
looking
do
out for you,
you could
Dave.
just do the resolved, you don't have to do like the whole
Okay.
thing.
Because we've talked about this a zillion times, too.
Yeah, we have. Okay. So resolution T is a law being proposed as local law F. This is the local law to revise Chapter 100 of the town code to add special use permits to add 153 entitled cannabis, marijuana, retail sales, and lounges. And the copy of the local law is attached. Whereas the town board desires to hold a public hearing with respect to the adoption of the said local law, and whereas the town board determined seeker, has done the seeker and the EAF, and we will hold a public hearing with respect to adoption. Therefore, be it resolved, Town Board hereby declares itself lead agency to do all the necessary reviews in this matter, and is further resolved, public hearing will be held by the Town Board with respect to adoption of the aforesaid local law at the Town Hall on the 15th day of June, 2022 at 7 p.m. Can I get a motion? Motion. Guerrero? Second?
Second.
Moreno? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And I'm going to move to resolution U. Okay, resolution U, whereas a project for Tilson Avenue, Route 4455 to Route 9W in the town of Lloyd, Ulster County, identified as PIN 8757.81, open bids publicly on March 15, 2022 at 2 p.m. The project reviewed the 3 bids. The names are on the agenda. Prior to opening the bid packages, the town declared the project funding amount at that time, which was $4.26 million. And according to contract spec section 100, if the bid amount from all bidders for the base bid at alternate 1 is greater than the amount, then you refer back to the base bid. Whereas A. Calaruso and Son was the low bidder for the base bid portion of the project, and whereas the town Lloyd's project design consultant, Barton and LaJudas, performed the bid analysis in accordance with Chapter 14 of the New York State DOT Local Project Manual, and whereas Barton and LaJudas has not identified any discrepancies in the bid received from Calaruso and Son, or identified anything that suggests Calaruso and Son is incapable of satisfactorily completing this project. Whereas the town of Lloyd desires to complete the base bid portion, and whereas the town of Lloyd requires award notification from New York State DOT prior to awarding the project to Calaruso and Son and entering into a contract with Calaruso and Son to complete the project. Now, therefore, the town Lloyd duly convened does hereby resolve that the Lloyd Town Board hereby contingently approves the above project pending award notification from New York State DOT, and further be it resolved, the town board authorizes the town Lloyd to complete the base bid portion of this project. And it's further resolved, town supervisor of the town Lloyd is hereby authorized to execute all necessary agreements, certifications, or approvals to award the product to Calaruso and Son on behalf of the town Lloyd once the New York State DOT provides notification. It's further resolved, this resolution shall take effect immediately. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Mazzetti?
Second.
Do a roll call, Wendy, please.
Moreno. Slavchek.
Yes.
Auguste. Guerrero.
Yes.
Yeah, and just some further information on this. So we do now have the entire amount of funding in the PIN to do both the base bid and the ad alternate, which was, we were short, if you remember, $2.1 million. So we now have a commitment in that. It's been loaded in the system under that PIN. So now we have to go back out with a change order for the ad alternate that we had bid before, and then we can award that portion. With that, since it's such a big project, I have talked to Barton LaJudas. I had talked to Rich Klotz. I have talked to the contractor, and we're going to set up an informational session on June the 2nd at 6 o'clock at the fire hall. And we're going to invite initially all the residents from Tilson, Smith Terrace, Linwood, that area, and people who are directly affected so that they can understand the scope of the project, how it's going to be started, some of the reroutes they're going to have to go through, and so they understand they're going to be inconvenienced for a good 4 to 6 months. And then maybe even in the next year, depending on how quickly we get the ad alternate done. So I think it's a good opportunity for them to ask questions. The contractor will be there, the engineer will be there, Rich will be there. We'll all be there to be able to answer as many questions as we can, or take down questions that we can't answer and get back to them. So I think you can't over-communicate stuff like this enough, so hopefully, everybody from the town board can be there that night. If not, I definitely will be there.
At 6 PM?
6 PM Thursday, June 2nd, and we'll have to post that, I think, Wendy.
I'll let you know. I'll
June
try.
2nd.
I'll try.
Okay.
Just so you guys know, my job this time of the year is very
I
challenging.
understand.
And we have confirmation from the fire district, rooms available? Good.
Okay, so I think that's good news for the town. It's, $7 million being invested in our town by the federal and state government. So I think it's something that people have waited a long time to get, and this board was able to push it to the start line, hopefully get to the finish line. And, thanks to everybody on the board who also reached out to help, whether it was, reaching out to one of the congressmen, assemblymen, or senators, DOT. I have had a number of sessions with DOT, so happy to move forward with it.
I thanked you in an email, but I want to thank you publicly. I know you wrote a lot of letters, you worked it hard, and your efforts paid off, so I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff.
A lot of phone calls, too.
Yeah, absolutely did.
Dave was determined.
Huh?
Dave
was.
was determined.
Yeah.
Borderline badgering,
Okay.
but it worked.
Do what you have to do, John.
Yeah.
Okay, Resolution V, whereas the town of Lloyd Board as commissioners of the Highland Water District.
Did we vote on that?
What's that?
Did we vote on?
I thought we voted on it, yeah. We
On
took the roll
Tilson?
call. Yeah. We voted on Tilson, right?
Yes.
We got into the conversation. We got confused there for a second. Like,
Yeah, no, I was just trying to update on the information session, Joe, so that everybody's aware of it. Okay, Resolution V, the last resolution on the agenda, was the Town of Lloyd Board as commissioners of the Highland Water District have previously authorized a project known as Town of Lloyd Water Storage Tank Replacement on Reservoir Road, and whereas CPL Architects, Landscape Architect, and Surveyor, CPL Andrew Learn, have prepared the required construction specs and bid docs for public bid of the project. And whereas this is a replacement project and exempt from further proceedings pursuant to seeker and a Type 2 action consisting of replacement, rehabilitation, reconstruction of a structure, facility, in kind on the same site which does not exceed the thresholds in the sections listed. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board as commissioners of the Highland Water District hereby authorize the advertisements and bidding of this project in accordance with the town law and other state requirements. And it's further resolved that separate sealed bids will be received by the town clerk at Town Hall, 12 Church Street, Highland, New York, 12528 until 1 p.m. local time on June 29, 2022, at which time they'll be publicly open and read aloud. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Moody, Guerrero. Roll call, Wendy?
Frano,
Yes.
Plopchak,
Yes.
Moody.
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Mazzetti.
yes.
Okay, motion carried. That's all for the agenda. Does anybody have anything else? Okay, get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Want us to push those little buttons on the bottom?
No,
No,
we do not.
Just push the top button.
No, I didn't think you did, but then we were talking about it, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah.
He said some other board.
I didn't know if we were supposed to or not, if the other board was doing a good job helping her out or not helping her out.
Water bid opening June 29th, 2 p.m., right?
Don't forget, we gotta get these signed.
Got to get what signed?